Hello, NCGR Boston chapter members. This is Lisa Tosti, your chapter membership director, and I am so happy to be here today with Sunita Kumar for the September 2026 member spotlight. And we've already had such a great conversation, Sunita. I'm looking forward to more, and for folks to get to know you as I am getting to know you. Oh, so if you're hearing my dog bark in the recording, it'll stop shortly. I'm not sure if it's carrying over, but she just started barking as I thought she might. Um, anyways, I wanted to start with your big three, and if there's anything in particular about your chart that you'd like to share.
My big three is I'm Scorpio rising, Virgo sun, so very good that I'm this September, and a Taurus moon.
Perfect. Thank you.
And the two things that are interesting about my chart is my ruling planet, which is Mars, because I'm Scorpio rising, is out of bounds. And I have Pluto on my north node, which is an unusual placement.
That is like literally by degree or close.
Within three,
Okay.
12 and 15.
Right. And I'm really close too. It might be three or four. Interesting. That's a
Hmm.
whole other conversation. Interesting.
Karmic connection.
Yeah, exactly. And anything that just in a nutshell, anything in particular about those placements that you've kind of seen how they've played out for you?
Oh my God. So I'm going to be 49 next week, so not a spring chicken, but I, learned about astrology formally maybe about in my 40s, early 40s, right around my progressed moon in the 11th house of Aquarius, kind of. And, learning that I had an out of bounds ruling planet was huge because I started astrology on the formal path. I went straight into education and formal training and all that. So I learned the stuff the right way. And my life path has been crazy. And I'm sure when I go out, when I leave this plane, you will be like, that woman did it her way. Okay. I don't know what box to put this woman in, but she did that. And so that was it. And I professionally reinvented myself a number of times and still am at this late stage of life. And so that's very Scorpio rising. So I would say that those two things were permission slip. I mean, the whole chart is so obvious, but those are the two that people probably could take away that
Yeah,
are,
I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So you started to share a little bit about your path with astrology, but I want to hear more about that. How how did you connect with astrology, and then kind of how it's unfolded?
So, I mean, my chart is I'm definitely an astrologer. I have Uranus on my ascendant. So I have the natal signature, an astrologer. I was kind of interested in it, I believe in 2016. I would watch like the Leo King or whatever. I don't know, very surface stuff. And around 2017, very close to my progressed new moon, which happened in November 13th of 2017, which was a progressed eclipse. So it happened very close to my north node. I came across a Facebook ad for somebody named Emily Trinkus, who's a famous astrologer. She has been in the industry for a long time.
Uh,
OG. She was my first teacher, and I don't think she's ever done Facebook ads again. She's not on social media. And I joined her moon group, her lunar group, which I'm still in
Oh, wow. That's
7
great.
years later. And she was my first teacher. She's a Virgo, very Virgo. I love a Virgo. I love, someone who's very disciplined and trained. And I took everything class, and it sucked me in. And that was my journey with it, was formal study for about 5 years. And just for as a personal hobby, passion, etc. And then when Uranus hit my ascendant line, ACDC line, in January of 2022, I went outside in the snow and I started an Instagram account. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to call it. I think I'm going to call it Astrology and Alchemy. It's still live. The reel is live. You can see it. I didn't know how to use a phone. I didn't know how to use social media. I was 44 years old. And I started talking about astrology, and people were like, "Can you do readings and this and that?" And that was that. Everything has been saying yes. I don't have a master plan behind this at all. Very Mars out of bounds ruling planet.
But well, and interesting, you don't have a master plan yet. It sounds like the universe does. Like you are living it. Really.
Yeah. And I've always been like a divine plan person. Even before I was formally into astrology, I was into crystals. I took crystal classes, I took tarot classes. I've been always been interested in the unseen. I've been open to the unseen. I never thought we knew everything, which is kind of interesting because when I've been interviewed for other spiritual platforms, I have an MBA, I have a mathematical engineering degree. So people assume that I had this out of body experience. I had a near death experience. I had this thing where I was against that. I was a linear thinker. I
Right.
grew up in Massachusetts, which, very science based, Harvard and
Mhm.
like Indian American. I was always open to all of it, which is my personality. I'm like, you are a mathematical engineer who talks to aliens. Love it. Fabulous. What did they say? Tell me about the lottery tickets for tomorrow, and then we can have a conversation about quantum mechanics. I mean,
Wow.
love it all.
That's cool. Any particular influence from your family one way or another?
I think Hinduism, I didn't grow up in a strict religious background, so I never grew up with this is the way. My
Mhm.
parents were not super religious, so that is something. I grew up in an educated family, so that is something. And I just grew up always questioning authority. And I didn't have parents who tried to change that about me.
Thank goodness.
Yes, which
Really.
I didn't appreciate until I started doing one-to-one work with women
Uh,
because I'm relatively new to personal development or et cetera. And I work with a lot of women who are really, my age or, and that stuff still is holding them back
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not surprised. That's why I say good for them for allowing you to be who you are, you know?
Yeah. And it made me appreciate them at a level I never did.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. But long way of saying there was no astrological influence. It wasn't like, I've talked to people who like, oh, my mother or my grandmother was an astrologer, or
Oh,
my
no,
father.
none. But Vedic
Right.
astrology, it's in my blood, potentially people were into it. I think my father was a seer, not in the sense of being an astrologer, but I think he was a visionary.
Yeah.
And I believe his mother was a visionary.
Okay.
So that is part of my gift. That is not astrology, but is part of what I do. I see things other people can't see. And um, the bottom line is they never dismissed it. So even when I was taking astrology classes and spending all this money and kind of randomly spending all this time on stuff that was seemingly unimportant,
Mhm.
like my father's like, I don't understand anything you talk about, but it's all good. Like they never tried to diminish
Yeah.
that. And given how hard they worked as immigrants, so I could have a good education, I went to an Ivy League school. I busted my butt, but so did they. They could have been like, what is the point of this? And you should be doing this. And da 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 da. Why did you study mathematical engineering so you could talk about astrology online? Never,
Wow. Beautiful.
never. They don't understand me. My father's no longer with us. I don't think they really understood me, but they always let me be who I was going to be.
I love that.
I love it too.
Not always the case. Yeah, as you were saying. It's really, really lovely.
Yeah. I had other difficult stuff, which I've talked about online, just where I grew up, and I grew up in a racist area and child of immigrants and da da da. But I would say that for my, in terms of, um, yeah, the more I just learn about psychology and personal development, and it's, people therapy becomes a big thing, and adults are talking about what they went through. It's a bigger deal now online, and I
Right.
hear some of the stuff that people say.
Right.
I am shocked. I am shocked
Yeah.
at how people were felt they were treated or were
Yeah.
treated by their
Right.
parents.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably more common than not, those stories. So that's why I react the way I do when I hear your story. It's really, really lovely. Um, and I thank them for
Yes.
being, for having you and for allowing you to be you. It's a gift to all of us, and I mean that with all sincerity. So really, it's lovely.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel that when I talk to clients and I feel like there's no projection because I
Mm.
didn't go through what they went through. And sometimes in personal development where people are repeating their wound to the client
Yep.
and like I can't relate at all. And that's actually a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Point.
Yeah.
So back to astrology. So you mentioned your first teacher, but
Yes.
any other like significant influence, whether it be a person, a book, something that happened in your life that kind of was pivotal in your learning, or kind of how you've moved forward with with all your work, which we're yet to talk about. But
I think what it is I got lucky and then I joined astrology late in life.
mm,
So I had patterns. I had the data. So I couldn't, and I've said this, you can't be like, well, you created that in your reality. You believed in astrology, so you created that situation. You believed that was going to break up, was going to happen on that day, so you created it. I have the data. And my background is in pattern analysis, market research. I'm a mathematical engineer. I'm a Virgo 10th house, Mercury 10th house,
mm,
Mercury retrograde. I see things other people don't see. So I love patterns. I love analysis. I love all that, which a lot of astrologers do, right? And especially the ones that geek out on this stuff. And so I think that was a big teacher's life. I was a 40-year-old woman before I even really formally trained in astrology. I literally joined her group after my 40th birthday. On my 40th birthday, the lunar circle had already started. She let
wow,
me join late she's like, yeah, you can jump in. Um, we talked before we got on that I'm very intuitive and I just do stuff. So I was like, I saw that Facebook ad. I'm like, I'm meant to be part of this lunar circle. I don't know who this woman is. And
you just knew.
I
Yeah,
just know, and I'm very instinctual about talent. And that is in my design. I do human design in addition to astrology, which we'll talk about. And
yeah.
there is actual gate, which is the gate 8 degrees of Scorpio, which is where I have my Uranus.
Okay,
So it's right there. I don't even have to think. I just can know. I don't know anything about you. I'm like, you're the best there is. I'm hiring you now. Done.
cool.
And so I didn't actually shop around with teachers. I really stayed with Emily. She's recently moved to Holstein houses by recently, probably 3 to 4 years ago, which I focus on Placidus.
Okay,
So I no longer, and I've learned I've done, I'm at the point where I'm teaching versus being taught. But um, Jan Spiller, who Emily, I'm really down with Jan Spiller. I've said this on my platforms, I'll say it. Of all of the 101 material, I think Jan Spiller does a fabulous job of keeping it accurate and simple,
good to know. That's great.
which is very difficult to do because most astrology that's popular is generic because it's hard to make it individual and universal.
Right, right. So that's helpful. Um, and
I think
then
her book on the nodes is great. I recommend it to everybody who asks me about books. The Jan
Jan
Spiller
Spiller's book.
Astrology of the Soul, I think it's a fabulous book. It's a great reference manual.
So we'll make note of that on the
Yeah. Especially for
post.
beginners. For beginners, I
Yeah.
think it's really great.
Okay, good. And we don't need to cover this all now, but if there are any other books, let me know at the end, and I can add them. Like if
Okay,
there's
I
something
will.
that's really stands out for you, I think that's a great resource. So what kind of branch of astrology do you follow?
All of it. So
Good.
I learned Western astrology, Placidus, formally, and that was my bread and butter for a really long time. And that's what I use if I ever teach or do a podcast or kind of like whatever. But very recently, I've gotten into Kuiper belt objects, dwarf planets, key asteroids, and ports from Arabic
Port.
astrology.
Oh,
From
oh,
Arabic.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Right.
And I weave them into my own system.
So do you want to tell us a little bit more about your system?
I don't have a name for it yet. I'm calling it quantum business astrology. That's the
I
name
love
I've
it.
come up with. Nothing feels like a yes, but okay, so just to take a step back, I talked about human design. So the founder of human design, which I know some astrologers love and some astrologers don't, and I don't really care because it's a genius system, whether or not it's genius. When a
Right.
Virgo says it's genius, it's genius. I recognize game. I recognize game for what it is, even if it's absconsion of certain cultures. He's a 5-1, which is there's types in human design. Okay, whatever. I'm the same type. And what those types do is they take a variety of systems, which is what
Okay.
he did, and they make the better widget.
Interesting.
They make the umbrella solution. They're like, here's the pill you take. You don't need to understand all the ingredients in the pill. Just take the pill. So you could study human design and know nothing about Kabbalah, I Ching, astrology, although the astrology is weak, but okay. And what's a chakra? And it would be accurate for you.
Wow.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I got to give it up. I'm like, this man was onto something.
Yeah.
And we can separate the messenger from the medicine.
Right, right.
Sometimes, not always. So that's what I do. So I weave in
Okay,
human design, I weave in astrology, I weave in Kuiper belt, I weave in asteroids, I weave in da da da. And I'm still relatively new on that path.
right.
I've been started doing beta work where I bring together this tool where I work with people on their prosperity path and how they're designed to provide value in this lifetime without them having to know anything.
And that ties into the presentation in September, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you can talk about it now if you want, since I was going to ask you later to make sure, but go ahead. I mean, so basically, the member showcase, which we haven't formally advertised yet for on our website, just this time of year, things get slowed down. But for the member showcase, I believe it's Sunday, September 27th, um, 11 o'clock. It'll be our first online speaker series program for the season. Sunita and Jenna Lowe, two chapter members, are going to be presenting, and you will be sharing more about this work that you're doing. So, anything more you want to add about that? And it's, a little teaser.
I mean, yeah, it's like a body of work that has been, we either the name of what I do is heretical researcher, heretical visionary researcher, heretical messenger, which the second one Liza knows well. And we're here to move humanity forward. That's what we're here to do. So everything I've done in my career, my entrepreneurial career, and everything has been that solutions that people weren't doing. I just closed a prebiotic company before people talked about gut health, before people talked about brain health. I had the first shelf stable probiotic prebiotic for gut brain with clinical studies.
My God, what have you not done, my friend? My goodness.
Mars out of bounds. Talk to me when I'm 90. I'm just getting started at 49. I know we're old. I'm like
Seriously.
half
So,
done.
so is that the functional medicine? Like,
Yeah,
I
yes.
wanted to hear more about whatever that was. And wow.
So root cause, right? What's the root? What's under the thing?
Exactly.
Under the thing. So
Exactly.
astrology is wonderful and we learn about ourselves and we get clarity on ourselves and that's amazing, the psychological piece of it. And I want to use it for like practical things, which is very Virgo, very 5-1. What's the practical way to get from point A to point B fastest? If you were going to spend a half an hour on something, you're going to take one thing. I'm like, it's all about gut health, right? You're going to change nothing else.
Yeah.
And so everything I try to create is like, what is the easy pass? Easy, not, what is practical? Because humans are busy and simple people, and not everyone
Yeah,
wants to learn
yeah,
everything.
right, right, exactly.
Um,
And yet, I just want to add that that's so brilliant because people are moving fast and they want quick answers, right? Yet, with what you bring to it, because sometimes easy could be implied there's no depth to it, but that's not true with your work. Your work, there's depth, and yet you've fine-tuned it like so that it can be assimilated. It can be like someone can work with it without going like, like I need 100 hours to figure this out, and I will I ever figure it out? So that's quite a talent to have that depth and be able to kind of I don't know, make a bubble to the top and just like the key salient points that you need to know to make it work for whomever you're talking to, because it could vary a little bit, right? Person to person. I mean, fundamentally, but if you're looking at the root cause, there's going to be some personal aspects to that
it's
change.
interesting you brought this up. So I was early in my research. I was so excited. I was going to present at UAC, the conference for the special interest group. I didn't read the email. Very non-Virgo of me. And I didn't realize it was in person only. So I was like, yay, I'm excited. And then they got approved for the research. They asked kind of last minute. If they'd asked a while ago, I would have booked my ticket. I would have made arrangements to go. And so then I was like, I need to do all this research. So I threw together this thing, which I was calling the money map. So it's relevant because I realize it's two spots. So I'm going to talk about it, but it's called X marks the spot because it's a blind spot. That's the
Mm.
personal piece.
Right,
And
right.
it's the money map or prosperity path, and that is everyone's map is different, but the inputs I put in are the same.
Here we go. Okay. Okay.
Right? That's
Yeah,
when you
that
have
makes
a
sense.
framework. That's when you
Right.
have a framework.
Yeah.
That's when I could create something that is replicable, etc. Then in doing that, I realized, okay, well, there's a blind spot piece that's unique.
Right.
The block, the ability to see what nobody else can see. I see under the veil. I see the unseen. I have Mars in the eighth house, Scorpio rising. I see the thing that is holding you back, and it's never what you think. That so far is individual.
Yeah. And that's something like I think to myself, you know, that's you 150%. Like that's not something you can necessarily bottle up and sell. Like that's something that again, like we were talking earlier before we started recording, um, I call it a gift. There's something that you have that really enables you to go there, which is just incredible. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's just really pretty cool.
It's like everything's reflection, right? You have to
Mm.
I Pluto North Node, or I didn't know I had that, or I wouldn't even admit it's not that I'm a Leo midhead and I'm not a wallflower, but I'm a Virgo and we're never think we're good enough. We never think we're like, let me see more data. And it was only really clients and yourself like reflecting that back to me. They're like, I don't know where you came up with what,
How
but
do you
I
do that? Right.
how
Like,
do I do that? It's a
right.
combination of gift
Right.
and it's a combination of using astrology and human design as a tool. I use it as an MRI, which is what I say in my marketing material. It's an MRI. I see you fast, I see
I
you
love that.
quick, and my client base wants fast, they want efficient, they want precise,
Oh,
they want
yeah.
what other people can't see. And that's what I want because if somebody else can do what I do, why would I create something? It doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense for me. It's not
People
interesting.
do that, right? I mean, cookie cutter, right? But this is not cookie cutter. This is like,
No.
yeah, it's something that's unique to you and your skill set.
Which is the bane of my existence because Uranus on my ascendant, we want to be the visionary, we want to be the futurist, we want to be
Mm.
different. Whatever has worked is not the way. And the
Right.
way is what people know and buy. And so as an entrepreneur, that has been the bane of my existence and my genius. And will probably be my evolutionary assignment in this lifetime.
You're on it. You're doing it. So,
I mean, I'm almost gonna be 49. I better speed up. I'm at least halfway done.
God,
So
you're a baby compared to me. Oh,
that's
I'm laughing every time he's like you sound like you make yourself sound like you're so old and like, oh my God, you're a spring chicken.
but for professionally, right, we have this
I know.
expectation for
I know.
women. And
I
so that's what the Mars out of bounds was because I was like, I'm so intelligent, educated, and I don't have this conventional path. And I'm not here to have a conventional path.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And
Yeah,
you
you,
find
you
all that,
you wouldn't be you if you were
no,
on that conventional path. That wouldn't
no.
work. Yeah.
You, people ask me how I got into human design. I don't have a magical, you know what it was? My friend and I had a random conversation during the pandemic. She was doing, speaking of birthday, for her birthday, she's like, for my birthday, I want to have Zoom calls with all my old friends. And we had a conversation about almost, it was June of 2020. And she told me about human design. That was how
Wow. And it piqued your interest and you
it
looked into it.
piqued
Yeah.
my interest. But her human design type is she's a manifester. Don't think law of attraction. The branding, the naming of human design is much to be desired.
Mm.
But like in New England, you know how they named all the names after everything, so you don't know if it's Concord, New Hampshire, or Concord, Massachusetts, Concord. It's like, okay,
Right.
couldn't they have come up with a better system?
Right.
He
Right.
named everything the same, but manifestors, which he was, are 9% of the population. They're like ahead of people.
Okay.
They turn the key energetically. So she mentioned it to me 2 years later. I got on it, but she
Okay. Okay.
planted that seed of intention, right?
Right. 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 Right.
Catalyst. Catalyst is a good word for it.
Yeah. I like the seed, planting the seed, which
Yeah,
sprouted when the time was right.
they're different than a catalyst because I'm a catalyst with what I do because I have like, a lot of fiery energy. But what I do is I catalyze you pretty immediately. Whereas like a manifester might mention something to you and you get on it like a year later when you're ready.
Right. Right. Very
So
cool.
patterns. It's a lot of patterns. You see trends and the types of ways people show up. So the money map and experts the spot is basically like, I see what people are here to do. What are you here to do in this lifetime? Why are you wasting time doing stuff you shouldn't? And so if you think about what prosperity is and the money map, that's marketing, right? But it's how are
Mm.
you delivering value
Right.
in a way that feels like you?
Right. Right.
If it doesn't feel like you, yeah, we all have to do stuff we don't want, but you know what I'm trying to say? If it's based in something that is going to grate at you and isn't what you're naturally designed and your gifts and all of that, which I use a whole system,
Right.
eventually when it gets hard, you're going to give up.
Right. Right. And just not feel fulfilled, not feel happy, not have joy in your life, not feel like you're like, living to your fullest, all those things. Oh,
Satisfaction
cool.
and fulfillment. I will go this, I'll follow my sword with this. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what you've done in your life. If you go out feeling that you did not contribute what you came here to contribute,
Yeah.
it'll kill you.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
only physically, but it'll kill you on the inside. At least I'm one of those people, which what
Yeah.
drives me, kind of what drives me at some level.
Right. Right. And some people just quite frankly give up. They get, I mean, all illnesses, whether physical, mental, you know, um, I do believe evolve if in part if we're not on our path, we get pulled off our path. It's like um and I'm going down a whole nother tangent here, but it's all related. So, if we're not living our path, we're not being who we're meant to be, it's like other things can manifest that further pull you off track, right? It kind of like pulls you like deeper and deeper into a place you really don't want to be. But
Yeah,
anyways,
mental illness, addiction, poor
right,
relationships, seeking
right,
validation outside of yourself, all the things we talk about in personal development, but nobody talks about this piece
right,
because it's not popular. And I, it's not easy, but if I look at all the work I've done as I've started to do client work and all that, doesn't matter the tool. I mean, astrology is a piece of the tool, and it was definitely the gateway to get me here.
right,
That is what I do. It's like I help people build something that is in alignment with who they are and what they're here to do. And
right.
all of the people, this is great because we talked about Pluto North Node. So
Mhm.
I've got Pluto, and you asked me about a placement. So the Mars out of bounds is a permission slip for me.
Mhm.
Um, and the Pluto North Node is actually about society because if you think about what an 11th house Pluto North Node is in Libra, all of the people who I've worked with as clients are all people changing the world
Mhm. Cool.
at some level
Yeah.
because that would make sense, right?
Yes.
You're not going to
That's so
transform,
important, right?
you're not going
Like,
to, yeah. And they're doing great things. They don't see it themselves because women downplay, but
right,
um, I said it on a public podcast that's going to be probably in the same place as this. I said, my job is to, people are doing good stuff in the world, help them do that work in the world.
yeah, right. And again, super important. Absolutely. So that is the alchemical business consultant.
Yeah, I don't know what to call
Right.
myself. I'm like, I'm not a
I
human design
love it.
coach. I'm not an astrologer. So I call myself an alchemical business consultant.
They just makes me smile at the use of alchemical in that sense. It really grabs it for me. Like it's
You
unique.
know,
Like alchemical business consultant. Like, oh my God, it's like I want to know more,
I'm glad because, and marketing, and I have an MBA too, and marketing and business and all that is about immediacy. A confused mind doesn't buy. So you need to make sure people know it's not something totally they don't understand like, it depends on your audience and who you're selling to.
Right.
But I don't want them to think I'm just a business consultant because I'm not. I abhor all stuff that's traditional. If I wouldn't be a Uranus on my ascendant if I wasn't here to break the box.
Yeah.
Um, I've also got Quawa on my ascendant. Quawa is a dwarf planet associated with creativity and spark, and they're the
Oh,
same degree, 8 degree
perfect.
Scorpio.
Wow.
So I
Cool.
don't know who put this together.
Yeah,
Whoever was
seriously.
making me was having had a couple of drinks beforehand. They're like, why don't wouldn't it be fun if
That's what happens.
why don't we put Scorpio rising in a 5-1 who's a catalyst anyway, very sandpapery to people or very magnetic, depending on. And let's add in a Uranus on the ascendant. Let's throw in an out of bounds ruling planet. Ooh, it's like uh human or earth plane existence is
Oh,
tough. So
yeah,
this is all sexy, but being a human on earth and navigating all this is that's what astrology does. That's what all these tools do. They help us navigate the human experience.
right, right. Exactly,
What
exactly.
they should be used for.
Right. So we'll be sure that there's a link in on the page for that and for everything we're talking about, so people can learn more about these things. And then you also have a, oh,
Well,
go
when is
ahead.
this going to air? When is this going to air?
So this will be shared September 1
Okay.
with them in the member resources email, and it will live on the member resources page where we have all the member spotlight discussions.
Okay.
So, so any new member, old member, doesn't matter, coming on board, they find that, they can pull it up. We reference the date, right? September 2026. So there's some, context of, something you might be talking about in like 5 years from now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so that's where it will live. So it's not more public than that. But this is converted to a YouTube video.
Okay.
So, I can share it with you too, Sunita. And if
Yeah.
there's some way you want to use it, it's up to you. It's our conversation. You can use it however you want. So,
We'll collab. If you do add me as a collaborator, it'll show up on my YouTube channel. The reason I shared is I'm doing rapid fire research at a beta rate in September in preparation for for the September conversation.
okay.
So if people are interested, it's a very low, it's a, reasonable rate to get that. So if they're interested
Okay.
in being part of the research, yeah.
Okay. Good. So that's just high level about the alchemical business consultant piece.
Yeah.
There's so much
Yeah.
more we could talk
It's
about.
new, which is relatively new. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. And then you have a podcast. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I have two podcasts.
Two. Oh
So
my
one
God.
you know about. You know
Okay.
about the Dark Matter show,
Right.
which we
Okay.
discussed at the NCJR event, and that has been an evolution. I started that in the late stages of Pluto and a Capricorn. It has been a 4-year body of work. I just celebrated episode 250.
Wow. It's incredible.
I know most of it in the last year.
Wow.
So it has been a bit of an obsession, but it has been a categorization and a tracking of society over the last 4 years through the astrological transits.
Very cool.
So it's been political, it's been social commentary, it's
Yeah.
been all kinds of stuff. And then towards the end, I would say last year, it's been a lot of silliness. It's been me singing, I have characters, I do accents, I tell random stories. I call
What?
it now, it's changed to casual conversation, collective consciousness, chaos, coffee. It's like coffee, chaos, casual conversation, and collective consciousness.
Okay.
It's called the Dark Matter Show. It's all the stuff we don't want to talk about,
Yeah. Perfect.
which is our conversation before we turn on the camera.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And then the other podcast I have, and these are all in the main players, Spotify, Apple, etc. And then my other podcast is Clear Signal,
Okay. Okay.
which is about unfiltered business clarity in a sea of noise. So it's for entrepreneurs and business owners looking to navigate the new terrain of business using tools like human design, but it's not a
Okay.
spiritual podcast. It's about where do we get off the track.
Great. Great. So how often do you air that?
It's
Or how
seasonal.
frequently?
It's
Okay.
there's like 80 episodes on that platform already.
Okay.
It's seasonal. We're just about to kick off season 3, which is going to be a lot of great conversation. The first real episode of season 3 is actually with an astrological counselor
Cool.
that I was on her podcast. So, that'll be fun. But we're going to keep it a little bit more business. I'm going to try to, I want to talk a little bit about Saturn and Aries and what does that mean for the new birth of leadership
Mm, good.
versus just like societal stuff.
Yep.
It was more spiritual podcast. Now it's being, all my stuff evolves. But it's about clear signal. It's about orientation. It's about navigation, which is what I found I do. I help people navigate the future, navigate the dark, navigate their path. People meet
Yeah.
me when they're on the edge of the next or an evolution or a shift or
Yeah.
a, yeah.
Love it. Dark matter
Yeah.
and clear signals. I mean, that's like, yeah, good,
Yeah.
good branding, good names.
Oh, my background's in marketing.
I
And
know.
also,
I know.
it
Yeah,
can be,
and it
it
paid
drives you
off.
nuts too. It can drive you nuts because then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
affect
Yeah.
everything. And so the dark matter show is a play on this notion of dark matter, which is consciousness, and dark
Mm.
matters, which we don't want to talk about.
Oh, perfect. Right.
What's the
Right.
dark matter show?
Yeah.
Um, and I have the YouTube channel. I haven't put the episodes up yet. I think I will. I was on the
For
fence.
dark matter.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
matter show. But the
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
podcast is everywhere. So far, that's been for everyone. It hasn't been business focused. I don't know where it's going to go moving forward. Um, Clear Signal is for business owners and
Yep.
entrepreneurs.
Yep. No, it's you're covering all your bases really.
Yeah.
Um, so so in terms of what's next, sky's the limit, I'm sure, but next is the September 27th member showcase presentation, which we talked about a little bit. So there'll be that will be on the website shortly, so people know about it, both members and non-members, and really looking forward to that. Um, so in a nutshell, like I know it sounds like you're working on so many things you've already talked about, but kind of I don't know, just where you see things maybe going. Like kind of applying what you do for others to you in a way and like where do you see it all headed?
It's that Chiron in Taurus, right? I have a T square of Chiron in Taurus that is
Mm,
connected to my Venus and Leo top of the chart, which is connected to my Uranus. So that would be a signature if you said
right.
moon. So it's like, owning the gifts and communicating the gifts and trusting the genius. And that's part of what I can't do that for myself because we can't be our mirrors. It's just not impossible. I can't see my own blind spots, but I can tell
Mm,
you that's part of it.
yeah.
The Virgo in me is going to make everything perfect everything until it doesn't need to be. But I
Mm,
would say what I am at where I'm at, and people kind of see this if when they give the thing, one of them is my website. I give
mhm,
you the link tree because that has everything, but my website is there and it gives you my background. And if you take a 30-foot view of my background, which I'm doing now, it's all been the same stuff.
yeah.
It's a universal thread. It's seeing underneath the thing. It's the load bearing solution meets the universal insight.
Mm,
That's what the money map is. Money map is a load bearing solution. You use that for life.
yeah.
And then the thing behind the thing is the blind spot because that hopefully will change. Hopefully you'll address whatever it is, although we're human and we have to go through this.
Right. Right.
And so functional medicine is root cause. That was root cause. I'm done with consumer goods for now. That was a chapter of my life that was exhausting and expensive, and I don't have it in me at this stage to do that. But I think it's so I can bring myself to the world versus a product.
Right.
And I do plan to do something in wellness in the future. I just don't know when, maybe my Chiron return, which is coming up. So the next level is taking a lot of things I did with Aries energy, and I think with Leo energy, like making it, bringing it out to the world, bringing my work out to the world in a bigger way, doing more stuff like this. I've been a little bit, not behind the scenes, but I would say I'm one of those people find me, but they're like,
Mhm. Right.
how do you, who are you? And I'm finding out where are the places that I can be an alchemical business consultant because the existing rooms are like kind of one or the other.
Right. But it's like you're breaking the mold for that though. It really, in a way, like it feels like a merging of like the traditional sort of approaches with the non-traditional and beautiful, like just so powerful what that brings.
It is, and I just want people to know about it. And
Right.
um, I have to have more confirmation from external people that the world wants that, because I'm going to say, well, they don't know what it is, so da da da. But breaking the mold and moving humanity forward sounds like sexy terms. It's exhausting.
Hmm.
And if I wasn't designed this way, I would have picked any other design. Like the 5-1 in human design and the 12 profiles there are, that is the musical chair nobody wants.
Huh.
Nobody wants that placement, because that is your job, is to break the ceiling of what the world is ready for
Cool.
and be heretic while you do it,
Yeah.
which is kind of what I do.
Well, I'm looking forward to continued conversation with you and just getting to know you more. I mean, really, it's just I really great stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
Thanks. So just a silly question. I don't know why I want to ask you, what do you do for fun? Not that this isn't fun, but it's, what you've been talking about, but like if you could just go off and do anything on any given day, just for you.
I struggle with that
Yes.
because my fifth house has ruled by Pisces, and that is conjunct my Mars in the eighth house. So I struggle with being a normal person sometimes, and I'm trying to get back to that. Cooking,
Okay.
um, saunas. I like to be in the sauna. I have a
Nice.
hard time just being present. I'm always learning or taking a class or analyzing something. And entrepreneurs are notorious for being maniacs anyway. And so that's actually kind of an interesting question you're asking me, because I kind of immersed myself for a very long time in creating these solutions and really figuring out what this was. And now I'm going back into like, okay, what is it like to be a human?
Yeah.
And I would say anything nature,
Yeah.
hiking, snowshoeing, hanging out
Yeah.
with friends, eating, cooking. I'm a Taurus moon.
Right. Right.
So if it involves animals or food or
Right.
nature or the
It's your
body,
comfort. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
reading paper books in the sun is simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a simple person.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
good to remember that
Yeah. Yeah.
and to do it for yourself periodically. So,
And that's kind of that T square, right? I publicized 250 episodes. I'm studying maniacally, but then the moon is there, is like, just go eat pasta and hang out.
exactly, exactly. Um, so I almost forgot, but I told you I was going to ask you this question near the end. Just briefly, as a newer NCGR member, because really not even a full year yet, um, what what does the NCGR Boston chapter membership mean to you?
I mean, I have nothing but positive things to say, and I'm not, this is honest about my choice to join. Um, I'm really impressed by the diversity of references and um, resources. I mean, if you literally wanted to just study astrology 24/7 based on the stuff
Right.
that they send, and you speak multiple languages, you could learn about this in Japanese and this and this.
Yeah.
I love just the variety of I'm really into the special interest groups where we
Mm.
study, Kuiper belt objects or asteroids or other things. I believe there's one for Uranian astrology starting up soon.
Oh, that was, yeah,
And that's an interest of mine,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
So, as someone who kind of mastered the basics and is always kind of pushing the envelope forward, it's very hard for me to find places that allow me to push myself forward,
Right.
because it's geared towards the masses. And what I found really, nothing wrong with mass astrology, it's not my bag, but what I found about a pleasant surprise about the chapter is like how much, there are resources for every level,
So
which I think is pretty impressive.
that's good. That's good feedback. I mean, of course, there's, NCGR National, which has all kinds of
Mhm.
webinars, ways to learn this, the CERTs, the special interest research groups. And then the chapter, we have the member resources page with things so people can go back and watch different presentations at any point in time. So anyways, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And the
Um,
depth of knowledge, like the people who give the webinars, like
yeah,
they've been doing this for 30 years, 20 years. I mean, there
I
is
know.
just so much knowledge in these
Right,
people that I'm, it's someone who loves to absorb and is very discerning about the information she takes in. I'm very impressed with the quality of the presentations.
great, great. Well, thank you for that. And thank you again for
Yeah.
joining and being a part of this adventure, as it were, you know?
Yeah, and I love the Boston group. I've only been to one, we've one event, so it's a little bit of a virtual. So I've had
Right.
less
But October, we have
interaction.
our next live,
Yes.
October 24th in Belmont. Um, and really looking forward to that. There'll be more coming out about that soon too. But any parting words or
I would
they
say
don't have to be.
I would say for astrology, like broaden your horizons of how we can use this tool. Because I think historically it's been a lot of psychological stuff and counseling and people who've worked in that field, and it's a
Right.
lot about the healing journey and the
Yeah,
wound. And I want to use these tools as literal tools, like the better
yeah,
widget, like the wrench. Like I
right,
think they can be fascinating ways to navigate as well.
right. And that's helpful, hopefully, for newer astrologers. Doesn't really matter how old someone is. You could be in your 70s and starting to learn astrology. But
Yeah.
um, the other thing that you made note of that resonated for me, anyways, was um, talking about, the life experience that you brought into, when you at the age you were when you started learning astrology,
Right.
kind of like bringing all that to bear. And that's true for anyone, really. Not to say you can't be a teenager or even younger and start learning astrology, but it's, all of that is a part of how we bring forward the knowledge and impart it and, how we use it, you know.
I mean,
So,
Saturn is wisdom and Saturn is time and Saturn is old age. There's no shortage for the reps of life and seeing how the cycles play out in your life and seeing the dates. And
yeah,
that is the biggest teacher.
yeah,
Astrology will teach you, life will teach you. And if you marry the two, it's undeniable.
yeah.
Anybody who doesn't believe in this stuff, which I know is not the audience for this, is like the minute you start mapping astrology to your life, you can't.
You can't deny it.
You can't deny it. The level of accuracy is, you know what I love about this craft? I'll say all the stuff I've learned, all the things I've learned. I appreciate all the schools. It will always humble you.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
be an expert in this. You could have gone through every transit known to man. You could think you know yourself backwards and forwards, and it'll always keep you guessing.
right,
And that's what I
right.
love about it.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful note to end on.
Thank you so
Thank
much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your time and more to come, much more to come for sure. All right, we're signing off now, everyone. Be well.